Hello and welcome to Warcraft Daily for today, the 25th of May 2013. In today's show we have some additional talk on the proposed vengeance changes for patch 5.4, a whole bunch of blue posts and blue tweets, and to finish it off, a smattering of 5.3 hotfixes, which aren't that interesting, so they're being relegated to the end. Yeah, screw you hot tweets. Hot tweets? Wow. So, for Vengeance. Now, ghostcrawlers said yesterday that they're possibly changing Vengeance in 10 and 25 man. To pretty much make it so tanks do a little bit less damage and rating. So he's actually said that he regretted tweeting numbers because they're kind of in a vacuum. People were all jumping on it like a pack of hyenas, which didn't really do anyone good. So, they've said that apparently the problem with tanks is that, they should be trying to avoid all damage, but Vengeance doesn't necessarily mean that that's the most optimal way. Maybe if their raid team really needs the DPS and the healers are able to manage the extra damage, increasing their Vengeance stacks, something like that. To be honest, I'm not a tank, I haven't been since Wrath, so I'm not really up to date on how Vengeance exactly works. But, yeah, now, ghostcrawler said that apparently he feels 50 to 80% of the damage the DPS doing is a pretty good number for tanks. Now, that's a giant range. I mean, 50% to 80%, 30%, that's a lot of DPS, especially when you're talking 200k, that's, lots of damage, so it definitely seems like they're not sure. Now, the interesting thing which he said, and I think it's really something to take away, is that there's problems when the tank is 100% uptime for DPS, and the player doesn't. I think if you take fights like, say, Horadon, because DPS is always like target switching and bursting down the specific ads, the tanks are just sitting there pounding away in Horadon or AoEing all the ads and they're getting tons of damage, which is cool, but maybe it's not the intended tank design Blizzard wants. I think we'll get a lot more information on this as time goes on, but for now, on to blue posts. Now, there's two main topics covered here. The first is PvP power, and the second is Druids. Now, PvP power is no longer as strong as it used to be. In fact, it's about, I think, roughly a third, that's just off the top of my head, roughly a third worse, because they increased the amount of rating you needed for 1% PvP power, and they halved the value in gems. So this pretty much means that PvP power is not something you want to directly gem for anymore, but I still feel that PvP power it fulfills its design goal. So it doesn't count towards the item level budget. That means 2496 pieces are going to have the exact same stats, just the PvP version has PvP power. Now, because the item level is capped, this means the PvP power is free, all other stats are the same, so PvP gear is guaranteed to be the best for PvP. And that's just as it should be, and I think that's pretty damn good. Now, of course, for gemming, it's not really a good option anymore for a lot of classes. I know for me as a hunter, I don't gem PvP power anymore, but still, overall, I think PvP power has worked for its design goal, and perhaps further tweakings needed to make it maybe a little bit of a better gemming option, but perhaps not. It's still like I want to gem for agility and that kind of thing. And the next thing is Druids, and Druids have an ability called Shapeshift, as I think everyone knows, it's one of the things they do, and they can shapeshift out of route. Now there's been a whole bunch of talk saying that Druids are just too mobile in PvP. Blizzard has said that in light of the buffs that other classes got in Mists of Pandaria, the sort of fun and iconic mechanics like this, which have been in the game for a very long time, of course, apart from Cataclysm, are okay. It was, made sense to bring it back. Although they did say the balancing endgame PvP is their primary design goal, so it's possible for changes to be made to Druids, as they are very CC resilient. And I know this, firsthand. Anytime you're in arenas or something, you're against like a feral Druid, those bastards are just, even as a hunter, they're always on your ass. So, yeah, hurrah for that. I just saw it and I thought it was interesting to talk about it, and that they said they could possibly change it. The next thing is blue tweets, and the blues have been all twittering it up. So this is mainly about the synergy of professions and stuff and how mandatory they feel. So they've said that they want players to feel like synergy's like a thing between impressions. It's pretty important and it feels good. However, they don't want to make it feel mandatory. Now, they ran into a problem with the past where things have been so optimal that it was felt to be mandatory. In the case of professions, that would mean you need a whole bunch of alts to get, the perfect synergy between all your things. So basically they hope that right now the synergy is at the stage where it's really, it's good if you have them, but it's not so powerful that sort of a not min-max, because a min-max is going to have loads of alts or whatever anyway, but, you know, a player that just wants to play optimal. It means they don't have to be, you know, quote, forced, unquote, to level up alts for more professions. They've also said that they want to add a catch-up mechanic, like with mining and herbalism, to the other professions, but they did say it would not be for a while, and that probably means it mightn't even be in Mists of Pandaria. It could be pushed to the next expansion. I think that would be quite interesting. It would certainly partially decimate the market for old world herbs and stuff, because they're, you know, used as important mats for the crafting professions, but I suppose we'll just have to see. Now, next up we have 5.3 hotfixes. Now, there's class changes, I believe they're to the paladin. I'm just going to run through these as quick as I can, because let's be honest, they're not terribly interesting, but I think I should cover them, since especially this close after our patch's launch, there can be some relatively important things that appear in the hotfixes. So for quests, the Lighting the Way, and That's a Big Bug, have had their minimum level reduced to 89. For creatures, the summonable Isle of Thunder bosses will now drop their unique weapons more frequently. And this is one I love. In Karazhan, chest has been nerfed, Medivh's buff is now 100% damage, down from 200, and the fire now ticks for 4k damage instead of 10k. So they're really substantial nerfs, in combination with Mediv using sort of less, you know, chess moves per unit time, whatever. It's much more soloable. That's nice, especially since there is a pet of Prince Melikar or whatever, so people need to get past the chess and they'll want to solo it, so that's great. For Battlegrounds, Deepwind Gorge has been added back into the rotation after the bug was fixed. For pets, the Valkyr pet can now fly. For items, quest rewards for the Path of the Last Emperor can be upgraded. That's 250 Valor points per 4 item levels, up to, you know, 8 levels. And they've also fixed some Helm socket bonuses. And finally, for Battlefield Barons, they have fixed the pathing on some of the southbound caravans. So there you have it for today. Pretty good stuff, you know, all around. I'm happy. As for the channel, sorry this is going up a little bit late. I had to spend most of the day in a car doing things. It was fun. Totally. So I might get some PvP done today, maybe a video or something like that. And tomorrow I will be taking a look at Metro Last Light, the extremely interesting atmospheric game from 4A Studios. So yes, please like the video and subscribe. It really helps me out, especially now that the channel's small, but I feel I'm really growing quite well. There's some days I'm getting sort of 10 subscribers a day, which is fucking crazy. It's great. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.